So hello everyone. Welcome to my very small channel about knitting. My name is Isabelle. I am in France. I have 3 sons and I have 3 cats. Some have said it's related. And I'm filming these videos in English because I miss my English so very much. I used to live in the United States, but that was over 32 years ago and I don't have any opportunity to practice talking in English. So you are my excuse and opportunity to do so about once a week. Today it's going to be an episode about my regular knitting adventures, what I have finished, nothing, and what is on my needles. And you may see, and I'm going to be talking about it, it's a bit dirty because of the color of the yarn I'm using. My finger has been, the first part of the finger has been liberated, and I can bend it again, and it's a bit easier to be knitting. So I casted on a new project because the current ones I'm not able to knit with that bandage and the mobility in my finger for now. So if my accent, my mistakes and my hesitations do not bother you too much, and if you are interested about a knitting adventure episode, please stay tuned. So first, what am I wearing? I am wearing my rainforest canopy shawl by Helen Stewart that I finished knitting at the end of March. This very beautiful shawl is made with Louis and Lola merino singles. And that yarn was a gift, the yarn and the pattern was a gift from my dear Rosemary in Australia. We exchanged yarn, and I've been wearing it a lot because it's a light shawl, but at the same time it's quite warm if needs be. It can be all folded in my bag and it doesn't take much place if I'm too warm. And I have to say that in Normandy we've been having nice weather meaning no rain, even though my country needs a lot of rain right now, same as many other places in the world. And no rain, but a steady north or northeast wind. And this north or northeast wind comes from the sea and it's very cold. So it's been about 16-17 degrees in my area. 20 kilometers south from me, it's 20-25 degrees. I placed the Fahrenheit equivalent. So it's been cold, a lot of wind on the seashore, and people who are on vacation or during the long weekends have been complaining, but I'm not because I can be continuing wearing my knits. Okay, so what am I working on? Because I have no finished object. I spent almost 1 week without being able to be knitting. The first one is my Hemsworth by Isabel Kramer. I injured my finger just after I finished the body. And so the body is done, it fits me, I like the fit. There is one mistake I realized afterwards, and someone talked about it. And I said, that's the reason. I'm knitting completely off gauge, which many times I'm doing that on a regular basis because I like to adapt the pattern to the yarn I have or the yarn I want to knit it with. So I'm completely off gauge. So I made the calculations for the body circumference and to decide which size I was wearing. I should have been knitting the third or fourth size, and I'm knitting the first one. Yes, the first one. I did not have to change the pattern in terms of stitch counts for the first size. But what I forgot is that I'm off gauge for the row size too, and my front neck is gonna be much wider than what the pattern shows. So I have several solutions. Either I pick up fewer stitches and I try to bring in with just the rib at the collar, but I'll have to do the armhole first, and of course the armholes are a bit wider than what the pattern shows. So that's the first solution: do the armhole first and then do the neckline, or just leave with a wider neckline. I think it's completely possible. You have here, if I place it here, the color is going to be more true to the real color. You have the front and you have the back. Thing is, with my finger, I can't do delicate work with my needles. The yarn is a bit stiff, so I decided I was just not going to work on this project until my finger is completely healed over, I guess. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed by that, but I can live with it and I won't do it again because it's top down. So that would mean I would have to do it all over again. But I'm okay. I like the fit. It fits me nicely. I've seen vests and slipovers with bigger armhole. It's just that I'm not true to the pattern, but I have never been true to the pattern to begin with because I'm not knitting with the correct yarn. I'm at a 19 stitch gauge and not sure I recall which stitch gauge the pattern calls for. Let me check that, but I think it's 22 or 23, something like that. 24. So you see I'm way off, and I should have anticipated and made some calculation for the front. I did not, and I'm okay with that. I will be okay with that, and I'm just waiting for my finger to be healing and start to work on the Hemsworth again. That I think it's gonna be perfect with my linen, my not perfect linen dresses. And I forgot, before I go to my next work in progress, I forgot to say that the Hemsworth, I'm using the Lenal West big sports weight cone. They say sports weight. I'm knitting at a 19 stitch gauge. I'm not sure it's sports weight. In Akroshker colorway, it's the normal undyed white and with a creamy yellow hue to the white sheep fleece. Okay, next is my Powderpuff Call by Brenda Meglock. Once again, the yarn, which is wagtail yarn, it's the fine kid mohair 2-ply. It's the variegated cyan colorway, I think. Once again, this yarn was a gift by Rosemary from Australia, so this is an Australian yarn once again. I tried to knit a few stitches with the bandage, but there is too much fluff in the mohair, so there is a lot of hair that get caught in the bandage, and I don't quite like that. So I'm a bit further up from where you last saw it, but it's basically it hasn't moved, and I placed some stoppers here because I'm using the needles for the project I casted on. So you may recall I was making a mistake with the yarn motif, the stitch motif. I'm much happier now. I ripped it out completely and I'm starting it again. So I'm much more happy with the stitch motif now. That looks like what the pattern shows in the pictures. So That one I will also start working on once my finger is completely healed, because mohair leaves a lot of fluff, and even just touching the mohair now I have lots of fuzziness on my bandage, and I do not want any hair going inside of course, inside of the bandage. Okay, next is a Newcastle and a work in progress. And I have to say, I could start knitting again once this part of the finger was mobile again, and I can sort of use my finger the way I use it to control the yarn tension, and I can control the yarn tension with these two other fingers. I tried knitting continental. It's a brain pain for me, because I am used to one yarn movement, and I, for now, because maybe also I did not try that much and I was, oh, I don't want to. But for me, the yarn movement is the contrary of the yarn movement I do with my right hand. And I have not been able to learn it so that I can do it without thinking about it. I have to think about what I'm doing to every stitch. So you are going to tell me, yeah, if you do train yourself again, and if you continue and work on it about every day, you will learn. So what I'm going to be doing is cast on some other, not even a swatch, but cast on something, maybe just a swatch with a yarn I don't want to be swatching with, but and just work on that, because my stitches some of my stitches end up to be twisted, some of them not when I do the proper yarn movement. It's really a pain. So I did not spend the time to learn. And I'm going to be doing this on just a swatch just for that. So I spent a week without being able to be knitting. My finger was, the bandage got smaller this Saturday. So we are on Tuesday. I started to be knitting again this weekend, and I think I've been knitting like a maniac. It was Mother's Day in France last Sunday. I saw my eldest son and we went to a restaurant, but all the rest of the time, as I cannot do any sports, or, I do yoga and stuff, and I can't lay on my hands and everything. So I'm just not doing anything. I just walk for a bit, and well, that's all. So I decided to cast on the Calera by Amber O'Brien. Calera, yes. So I'm using superwash yarn. So you may also know, if you've been around for a bit, that I'm trying to be knitting with natural yarn. I prefer. It's just my choice. I prefer. I'm not saying that you should not, and you do you, and you do whatever that fits you, that suits your budget, whatever. But I prefer to be knitting now on with non-superwash, non-treated yarn. But I still have superwash yarn, and superwash yarn has its own qualities. And for me, with my injured finger, that means a yarn that is plump, very round, that doesn't make any fuzziness, that doesn't shed, and no fuzziness, and that is very supple. It has a lot of elasticity, so that's one of the problems when you wash superwash garments, because it has a lot of elasticity. So if the water pulls a bit too much on the garment when it's drying, it's gonna expand, so you have to place it in the dryer. The whole thing. I prefer not to, but I also understand that indie dyers prefer superwash yarn, because you have a better reproducibility, that's the French word. Anyway, the dyeing from batch to batch is more consistent. And last November, I went to visit my mother, and we went to a festival, but it's a very small festival. It was only one big room, a smaller festival, mostly about quilting, because she sews, and I introduced her to quilting when I came back from the United States, and she finished one quilt I had started in the US, and I had no time to finish it. So we went there, and there was one indie dyer from the south of Bordeaux. Her name is Véronique. I'm not sure what her last name is. And her brand is Lens Select. So I got 2 skeins of her, I think it's Merino Superwash. It's fingering weight. One skein that one of you, I contacted her, and unfortunately, so she does one of a kind. Maybe sometimes she dyes only 1 or 2 skeins of the same color, and she had only one of these ones, or 2, and they were gone. So of these very dark plum, violet, purple type of grape, aubergine, I'm not sure which name to say, but it's almost black, but it's not black, it's in the purple range. And there are some little variations, but very, very few. It's mostly a tonal, and it's the same color family as the one from the rainforest canopy shawl. Anyway, I like that color, and I don't have many garments with that color. I think I like it quite a bit. So I have that one skein. And a little story, the one of you who asked me to contact the creator and could find another, at another festival, could find a similar colorway from someone else, and I was very happy that you could find a color that you liked. So I'm pairing that one with a very, very different one. This one is like sunset or sunrise. It's full of purple and yellow and oranges and bright pinks and softer pinks, and I think I'm gonna have a bit of a problem with the caking of that one. So I'm monitoring that, and I'm pairing the 2 ones. And you can see also that this skein that was supposed to be 100 grams, the same way as this one, is much smaller. So at some point, Emba says you should be 1/3 in. So from that point on, you need to reserve 2/3 of your yarn to finish the shawl. I may be a little bit short. It's going to be 10 centimeters or less than a meter, less than 3 feet. So I have decided, if I run out of this colorway before I get to the end of the shawl, I'm going to finish it with that one. There will be a pointy end, maybe, with the dark grape colorway on its own. So be it. So I'm striping these 2 ones, because these are the sunset sunshine colorway is extremely bright, and it's not too much for me, but I really like the combination of the 2, and I will have to retrieve who suggested me the Calera pattern, because I'm going to try not to lose my stitches. It was a very, very, very good suggestion. So the Calera pattern is an elongated triangle. You have increases at different rates. sorry, different rates on either side of a central ridge, which is done by double center decrease. I think she doesn't call them that way, but I think it's double center decrease. And so you increase on one side at a slower rate than on the other side. And at some point, and I've passed that point, so at some point, so that's the beginning, at some point you start the decrease. So I'm the top here. Let me see which way. This is gonna be a better way. And I'm gonna try not to lose my stitches. This part here is the end of the increases, and I've started to decrease. So you may be able to see it that way. And I like the striping effect. I like the fact that you see these bright colors. So let me hide my eyes. These bright colors in between the very dark aubergine purple one, plum colorway, almost black, but not black, not black. And I like the shawl. It was a very nice suggestion. I did write that down at some point, so I can retrieve who suggested that pattern, and it was an excellent suggestion. It's a very easy pattern. It's only garter. The rate of increases and decreases is easy to remember. The only one thing is to remember to do the central ridge on all the same stitch, and I've marked it with so she recommends a removable stitch marker to mark the stitch itself, that you have to do the double central decrease on it. I'm just doing one stitch next to it, and as long as I know where I'm doing that, it's fine. I have to say, I had to start again several times because I was not understanding where she was having us put the stitch marker, and after I understood, she was asking to put the stitch marker on the stitch where you do the double central decrease. Everything became clear, and the stitch count on either side of this central ridge was right. So after I had to start again a few times to understand where the stitch marker was going and which stitch we were talking about, it all went smoothly. It's very easy knit garter stitch. I can knit without looking at what I'm doing. And so I had a couple Zoom meetings. I should not say that, but I had a couple Zoom meetings where I was an attendant, and my implication was not very, very, very critical, and I had said what I needed to say, and that was it. So I could knit a lot of it. And yes, we're gonna see how it goes as far as the bright colorway, if I will have enough or not. One thing I would like to mention, and I do not recall her name. Her handle on Instagram is Yarn Over Turtle, I think. She was part of the knitting posse. I'm not sure I recall her name. Anyway, she has talked about transitioning from her dyed hair to her white or gray hair. You may have noticed, or maybe not, but that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be doing. All my life I used to bleach my hair one way or another. When I was very, very young, when up to I was maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, I was white. My hair was so fair, I was white, and I still have a very fair skin. I do not tan. I have to wear SPF all year round now. I've been doing that for over 30 years, but when I was a child, I would get burned and peel off and get burned and peel off and get burned. And thing is, I've always used cooler cooler tones. You see, most of my wardrobe is blue and has been blue for a very long time. I like a few touches of warm tones to go with these very cool tones that I mostly use. And this fits. When I bought the yarn, I said I can buy that because I do not have much, or I have almost no garment with or shawl with very warm colors. Sometimes I mix them in a colorway, like in my Sleep Extravaganza, for example. I mixed cool and warm tones, but true warm I do not. So this is why I bought these two colorways that are very, very unusual for me. And what Yarn of a Turtle, I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I will write your name, said that she was transitioning, and so I'm trying not to dye my hair any longer. This part has to grow out, and it's going to go away, and I think I would like to have pure white hair. I would be perfectly happy with that. So you see, some of it is coming under, of course, but not everywhere. Anyway, I'm trying, and what is nice with hair is that if you do not like, you can do again what you were used to be doing. And what she says is that she used to wear very, very warm tones. All of her wardrobe is of warm tones, not all, I guess, but of browns and warm browns and reds and yellows and oranges and things like that. And we had a little talk on Instagram. She was saying that she would have to change most of her wardrobe now that she is letting her gray go out, and that she thought she would better like cooler tones. So I told her maybe I'm not seeing the same way, because I've always been using very cool tones in my the way I dress and all the clothes I have. I have very little clothes with warm tones. This purple is quite cool. This purple, I would say it's not warm, it's not cool. It's more on the cooler side, and it may be just a neutral purple. But the other skin, this one is very, very, very warm tones. And even for makeup, I don't have warm, or I don't have many warm tones. So it's not a problem for me going gray to incorporate warmer tones in my much cooler wardrobe. But anyway, it's always a matter of preference, and she will have to try and see what works for her, because what works for her is what works for her, and that's the best thing to be doing. Anyway, this warm piece is gonna be coming into my wardrobe as an accent color that I will be able to be wearing with my mostly cool tone dresses and sweaters and things like that. Okay, so even if I could not knit a lot, I did knit quite a bit for the last 4 days, but I could be talking and babbling and for about 30 minutes, so with the edits it's gonna be a bit less. I'm gonna move now to life updates, but you've been hearing most of it, and I have a couple things I want to talk about in future videos. If you're not interested into that, you are more than welcome to be stopping here, and I am thanking you for watching thus far, and I hope I will see you next time. Okay, life updates. Finger, you're up to date. It's following its course. I have a nurse who comes every other day. That's not still a bit, but the healing process is going on, and it's way less way less disturbing now that part of my finger is freed. So yeah, that's following its course. With my mother, there have been ups and downs. Mostly ups. There are some family problems and issues. I'm not going to go into that, but the good side of losing your memory is that the next day you're all fresh and all happy. So that's following its own course. So I would say that for now, work has been quite hectic because I could not work that much for almost a week. And the end of the year, the end of the school year is always a bit more dense because we have exams and gradings and stuff like that. But anyway, I could not dedicate as much time to knitting as I'm used to. And the next video I think I'm going to be filming, it's a bit of a teaser. It's because yarn has come my way once again. It was out of the blue. Caroline, not sure, contacted me from Germany. And I'm going to tell you that story next time, and we exchanged yarn, and I will be able to knit with one of my kryptonites. So it was totally unexpected, such a pleasure for me. I'm not doing these videos for that, not at all, but that's a very positive side effect. And I do appreciate, and each and every one of you, I do like when we interact down below. In 2 episodes from now, this is going to be episode 100 of the whole series since I started. I think it was in August 2 years ago. So I may do something, I'm not sure, and we'll see also in the next episode. If you have ideas, I could do a question and answer at that time, because there have been new people coming in, so maybe you don't want to watch 100 videos to understand. I would not do that myself. So maybe you want to know for how long I've been knitting, what I like, things like that, what has been my life thus far. So we could do a question and answer, and I think I'll do a giveaway with a pattern. But I will tell you in my upcoming video all of that. And why a pattern? I've been thinking a lot about that. It's because sending yarn can be quite expensive, and I'm not saying that I don't want to do it. I do want to do it, but wherever you are in the world, buying a pattern for you, or several patterns for several of you, is much easier for me. And so I have a few ideas on how I want to be doing this, but please tell me down below if I open a question and answer next time for the 100th video that is going to be 2 weeks from now, if you would be interested into doing this. If not, that's perfectly fine, because I don't want to say I'm doing a question and answer and I have 2 questions. Of course. If not, I'll just do a regular episode and a regular giveaway. I thought about doing a live. Many of you are in a different time zone from where I am, and if I want to be able to have everyone, it's going to be very difficult. If I do in the morning the western part of me is going to be during the night, and if I do in the evening, the eastern part for me is going to be into their night. So it's going to be quite difficult to be doing a live event, even though I know we can't have everyone and we can please everyone and everything. And at first I thought about doing this. I've never been doing a live event. I've been doing live events for a very long time in my work, but I have never been doing a live event here. So I'm not quite certain, and also from lives I see, if you do not have moderators and things, you can have trolls that are coming all over the place, and it's not necessarily a good experience. So maybe I would prefer a Q&A, and please tell me down below if you would like that, and I'll do that next week. So next week is gonna be a Yarn by Year episode, even though Yarn has come my way, but Yarn has left me too, Yarn from my stash. So I'm going to be talking about that, and I'm going to be talking about also the superwash thing, because I have to say I am forced to be shifting my own opinion on superwash that has some qualities after all. So yes, if you are interested, please tell me. And I'm thanking you very much for being here with me. Please try to place joy and happiness into your life, because it's not going to be coming all by itself. And every little stitch, if you place joy and happiness in every little stitch, every row, you create joy and happiness for your day. And because we do actively have to work on that. So yes, and you are bringing me much joy and happiness in all of different ways and unexpected ways. And yes, thank you very much for being here with me. I thank you very much also for influencing and changing for the best my knitting adventures and my knitting experiences. And yes, I will see you next time.